This video is only for those who are tired of being treated like a boy and want to be treated like a man. Here, you'll learn 3 rules that can only be learned in 2 ways: through years of painful experience, or right now by watching this video. The first rule is learning to see challenges as opportunities. You've probably heard this before, but do you really understand why this is so important? If you don't, you should listen closely to what I'm about to say, because this will change the way you face challenges for the rest of your life. When I talk about challenges, something negative probably comes to your mind, and that's normal to a certain extent because we've been conditioned to think that way. So, when a challenge shows up, our first reaction is to run away, and that actually makes sense because challenges test our limits, and often we think we won't be able to handle them. That brings a lot of fear, especially the fear of failing and embarrassing yourself. To protect us from that, our mind comes up with excuses to make us avoid the challenge. Have you noticed the pattern here? Our mind is always focused on the negative side of things, and that makes us miss incredible opportunities. That's why this rule is so important, because it changes your perspective on life and helps you realize that on the other side of challenges, there are opportunities that can completely change your life. So, from now on, do something for yourself. Stop running from challenges and face them head on. You don't need to be afraid of failing. That's part of the process. What you need to do is learn from your mistakes and keep moving forward. The second rule is learning to live with discomfort. Let's be honest, this is really hard. But with the 3-step protocol I'm about to show you, it becomes much easier. But before that, you need to understand how discomfort actually works inside your mind. That's the only way this protocol really works. Discomfort isn't as bad as you think. I know that sounds contradictory, because no one wants to feel uncomfortable, but it's actually the opposite. Everyone is chasing comfort, and that's exactly where the problem starts. Because the only way to create comfort is through discomfort. For example, if you want the comfort of being healthy, you have to go through the discomfort of training every single day, going to bed earlier, and not eating everything you like, because most of it is bad for your health. If you want the comfort of living in a nice house, you have to go through the discomfort of working to earn that money. If you want the comfort of a good relationship, you have to go through the discomfort of going out more, meeting new people, and putting yourself in situations that aren't always pleasant. This applies to everything. Anything you want in life, you'll have to go through discomfort to get it. But what exactly is discomfort? It's just a sensation produced by your mind. Its purpose is very clear: to warn you that something out of the ordinary is happening. The problem is that many people don't know how to interpret this signal and end up complicating things. Discomfort shows up when we're doing something we're not used to, and the mind doesn't like that. It prefers that we keep doing what's familiar, because that requires less effort. The good news is that this sensation is temporary, and there's a much easier way to deal with it, through what I call the initial desensitization protocol, which consists of 3 steps. First, you define a minimum exposure window. It can be 5, 10, or 15 minutes. You choose. During that time, you focus only on what you need to do. The goal is not to finish the task. It's simply to get past the hardest part of discomfort, which is the beginning. The second step is decision suspension. During the time you set, you don't think about stopping, at least until the time is over. As I said before, your focus should be only on the task. The third step is conscious re-evaluation. Only after the time is over do you stop and decide whether it's worth continuing or not. And here's the interesting part. The chances that you keep going are very high, and the reason is simple. For the mind, it's much easier to keep doing something than to stop and start something else. Now let's move to the third rule, focusing only on what you can control. Let me ask you something. How would you react if I told you that you don't have and will never have control over most things in your life? You'd probably be scared. At least I was the first time I heard that. But don't worry, this isn't that bad. At least not if you understand everything I'm about to explain. Since the beginning of humanity, people have had an almost obsessive need to control everything. And there's a very simple explanation for that. This desire comes from our survival instinct. Our brain was programmed to avoid danger and seek safety. For thousands of years, our survival depended on that. But today, that reality has changed. Still, the brain works the same way. Deep down, it wants safety above everything else. And that becomes a big problem, because somehow, our mind learned that safety is tied to how much control we have over the situations in our lives. At first glance, this sounds like a good thing. The brain is just trying to protect us. But in the end, this turns into something terrible. When this need for control becomes an obsession, the mind starts avoiding anything new. So you stop going to new places, meeting new people, and living new experiences. Not because they're actually dangerous, but because they're unfamiliar. And anything unfamiliar is interpreted by your mind as a threat. So, to protect you, it does the only thing it knows how to do. It tries to control everything. Unfortunately, that's impossible. But don't worry, you don't need to be sad about it. Because even if you can't control everything, there's one thing you can control: yourself. And I'm going to be very realistic with you. This isn't easy. I'd say that. In life, the biggest battle you'll ever face is against yourself. And maybe it's the hardest battle you'll ever fight. And the only way I know to win this battle is through emotional intelligence. I won't go deeper into that right now, because I already made a full video about it. So, click the video on your screen and go watch it.